But then the rest of them were just all, another thing that I talk about is anytime you have the word don't in your head, don't go left. I don't know how much this is going to break. I don't really know what the wind's doing here. All that, you just have to start over. You don't know what you're trying to do with the shot. And I probably hit, I'm going to guess 6 or 8 shots last week with some semblance of don't. And this is what's funny is when we track it, God dang, it just makes me mad as I talk about stuff like this because it's these conversations, they just meander. But in the Decade app, we track what we call the mental scorecard cost, which we take every single hole that you play relative with a perfect mental scorecard, and we show what you are relative to par on those holes. And we take every single hole where you have a negative mental scorecard event, and we show what you are relative to par on those holes. And I will say it's hard to remove the bias of if you miss a 4-foot putt, but you were totally focused, but you missed it. It's hard not to like blame it. I wasn't paying attention. So being objective and unbiased here is really hard to do. But the actual cost, just generically across all users, is 0.54 shots of scratch or better handicaps. Like, wow. It's over half shot. Now, when I track it, I had Will Zalatoris track it, Maverick McNeely. I've, some guys that I think are pretty good, smart players. The cost is a quarter to a third of a shot. But here I am saying at Q School last week, I had like about 10 total mental scorecard mistakes, and it's like a quarter to a third of a shot, which again, I was over 95%, which is my goal. So I'm not saying I should have done better. Like I did as good as I want to do, but it's still at the end of the day, the only reason I didn't get through is by having a few too many mental mistakes. Even with the exact same game, I probably skate by, cruise through by 2 or 3 shots if I actually had 100% mental scorecard, which I will say, I think Tiger's probably is at least 99, if not 100. And so here's a guy that just was playing with such an unfair advantage. Again, it's why I talk about meditation and other stuff so often, because Tiger, I do believe that was his superpower. I've got a guy named Sam Harris that I love, who's like the ability not to get mad, but the ability to simply not stay mad is literally like a superhero superpower. Like, so get as mad as you want to get. But the idea of not staying mad, like how many bad decisions and how quickly can you screw your life up in milliseconds by being mad for a little too long in a car wreck and just anything where you just make a slightly bad decision because you weren't fully focused and present. And there's just no reason to to hit a golf shot under those circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. We had a few golf hypnotists on the show and different mental game experts. And I like that you said that too about getting mad's okay, but just get it done quick. You can't let it linger to the next shot. And that's the biggest thing I see with so many golfers is they get mad and then it affects the next 3 shots. Or I remember this one tournament I was playing in, 5 holes later, even the next day, this guy was still talking about how this one shot he got mad. I'm like, I literally said, I was like, are you still talking? Like, I'm like, get over it, man. Like, what are you doing? Like, I wanted to just throw my podcast, throw your program at him. I'm like, this guy's killing me.
I literally just had a phone call with Keith Mitchell. That was what I was doing before this right here. And this was a start of the next season. Okay. Last year was okay, dude, it was my best season ever. I'm all in. How do I get, let's go to the next level. And I'm like, okay, well, one thing I'm going to tell you, dude, I went out and watched him here at the Byron Nelson in Dallas, and on 14T, I was like, I should have gone back and looked at it, but I don't remember. And we're doing this literally as we're talking. And I'm like, but you had like an 11 or 12 foot putt down this hill. That's kind of a slider, but you missed it. And I just watched you. 14 is then, that was on 13 green. 14 is then a kind of drivable par 4. So the tee box is backed up with like 2 groups. And I was like, I just stood there. You didn't know I was watching. I stood there from like 100 yards away. And you just had your head down and your arms folded. And you just looked like you were pouting for like 15 minutes. And he's like, really? And so I was like, you know what? Actually, I bet I can find the scorecard just on PGA Tour's website really quickly. So I did. And he's like, I wonder what happened on the holes before. And we went to 12, and he had a 66-foot eagle putt that he hit 8 feet by. Missed it coming back. We went to 11. He had an 11-foot birdie putt that he missed. And we went to 10, and he had a 10-foot birdie putt that he missed. So here he is now 4 holes in. Yeah, so he started on 10 that day. And I just thought it was amazing because I was like, that was a great catch on your part, dude. I was just looking at the 1, but you missed a 10-footer, an 11-footer. Then on 12, you've got an eagle putt. You jam it by, miss it coming back. Now you miss an 11-footer standing on 14T. And probably all you're telling yourself is, I could be 3 under and I'm even.
I could. How many times have you all said that?
Yep. And that's where I was like, dude, you're like 20 holes into the tournament and you're just acting like, somebody just kicked your cat. Like you're fine, man.